everyone. Mirror Raven here. Welcome to Magifest interview show. Um, and I'm super excited to be here for yet another wonderful third Friday of the month. With another amazing person who's manifesting, making their dreams happen. And so I'm having on today Mr. David Boykin, and David is actually a friend of mine and such an amazing musician. An amazing composer. And I'm just honestly honored and touched to even be in his little, be somebody who is, connected to him. He's gonna be, I swear, he's gonna be like the Charlie. He's like the Thelonious monk of his day. Like so I am just honored to have him on the show. And honored to share him with anybody who's new to him and has never heard his music before. You are in for a treat, man. You are in for a treat. So without further ado here, I'm gonna start my little. And oh yeah, by the way, as you're on, feel free to say hello. I always like to always know who's watching. And feel free to comment part of the conversation. And yeah, we're gonna kick this thing off here. All right, everybody, welcome to Magifest interviews. All right. So I'm going to bring on the one, the only, Miss David. Hello, David Boykin.
Hi.
Welcome. Hi.
Thank you.
How's it going?
It's going great.
Yeah. So David, there's gonna be people here that have not heard of you before. There'll be people that know you, and then there's probably gonna be people, I'm sure, that they're gonna watch this that are not in the, like, you're a hidden gem, totally hidden gem. You find somebody like David and you're like, wow, that's amazing, awesome. So for people who don't know you, sort of, what has been sort of your journey through music? Where did you kind of get the? Because you really, you play more than one instrument. You're a multi-reedist, right? So that takes a lot of dedication. What I remember even having one of our conversations. You were telling me about how I was really impressed with the discipline you have and how you would studied with all these different people and went through the process. And I really it reminds me of like the greats, the jazz greats, and we're serious about this stuff that they were doing, and they were continuing to always improve and go to the next level with their artistry. So what was your process? What kind of drove you to continue with music? Is it just pure just having a love for music your whole life, or were there particular things that propelled you in your career into the place that you're now, where you're doing it the way you want to do it, and taking full control?
Well, I guess I'll just try to give like a brief origin story. For me, as a musician, I came to music relatively, I think, late. for a lot of musicians. I was in college, and I was studying economics, and I was at Florida and A&M University, and my roommate, um, after the summer break, he had returned, and he had a new interest in jazz music. And prior to that time, most of the music that I had listened to growing up, like in my house, was, um, just soul, rhythm and blues, uh, and I hadn't really listened to jazz. Uh, Immediately prior to my roommate coming back, listening to that music, like, before that, we always just listened to, like, hip hop and like R&B and reggae music. But his new thing was jazz music. He had all these like recordings. He had these tapes. He had these CDs, and it was like his thing. He was playing this stuff like all the time. And just one day, upon like hearing it, it was like something in my brain kind of just kind of clicked, and I just knew. I had a sense of knowing, and it's a sense of knowing that like I've never had prior to that. And I don't think I've ever known anything that sure like since. But I knew, like, really, really knew, like in my bones, that like I love this music. I like this music. I love this music. Um, I would like to play this music. I'm going to play this music. This music is all that matters. This music is the most important thing, and it's all that matters. Like I knew all of this, like just in this instant. And from there it was like, I just continued, listening to music with him and stuff. And then I started on the quest to, get an instrument. There was somebody at the university, a DJ at the radio station, a French guy who was selling a saxophone, and I had, arranged to meet him. And because I had heard, I've been listening to Charlie Parker and John Coltrane and Ella Fitzgerald and Betty Carter and Thelonious Monk and all of this stuff, and hanging out at the radio station and stuff. And I had decided that I originally decided I wanted to play the bass. And when I started looking into getting the bass, when I would talk to people and look at prices, it just seemed astronomical. They were talking like, from like $30,000 or something. And I was like, oh, that just sounds like, kind of far off, kind of unattainable for this poor college student right now. So I said, well, maybe I'll just play the saxophone, because I was really, digging train and stuff. And and this guy was selling the saxophone, and I had made an arrangement. I met him and talked to him, made an arrangement to to purchase the saxophone from him. And on the day that I called him, another day, that I was supposed to come and give him this down payment and check out the sax and da 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 da. And he reneged on the deal, and he sold it to somebody else. Um, so I didn't get that saxophone. And then the semester was over, and I came back home, and I was financially struggling, and I decided to take some time off from school, and I was working. And a coworker of mine, Pooh Williams, he was a pool guy, and he was a fireman, and we became friends. And I was visiting his home, and for the first time, and he had a recording studio in his home, because he sang, and he said he used to want to be a singer, so he had a recording studio in his home with all this equipment and piano and uh, separate booth for singing and stuff. And on the piano bench there was a clarinet, and and I had been talking to him about, my interest in music and stuff, and he gave me the clarinet, and that's how I started. Um, and so after that, after I got that clarinet, I was, I was, I was, where was I? I met somebody. I was carrying it around, and I was working downtown. This was downtown Chicago, the Essex Hotels where I was working and where he worked. And I was carrying it, and I was going to Rose Records. Those used to be Rose Records store. I was going in there because at the time I was, listening to a lot of music, buying a lot of music all the time. And I go in a record store, and the clerk at the record store sees the clarinet case, and she asked me about, like, what's that? And I was like, it's clarinet. She said, oh, I play clarinet and such and such. And she was a student at Columbia College, and I was telling her, hey, I just got this, and I'm just gonna learn how to play. And she asked me if I wanted lessons, and she said she would give me lessons, and I was like, yeah, And so I I scheduled time to give my first lesson, with her, and so maybe about a week later or so, I'm on my way, to lesson, to a practice room down at the university, and I'm walking down Wabash, under the train tracks, and I got my headphones in, and I'm listening to some music in my headphones, and I got my clarinet, and I'm walking, and I feel somebody bumping up against me, and I'm thinking somebody trying to pick my pocket or something, and I pull my headphones away, and I look, and it was Eddie Harris. And he's like, "Hey man, da 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 da, what's that you got, such and such?" And he was in town. He said he was in town, just visiting his mother and stuff. And he would just ask me about the clarinet, and I was telling him, that, yeah, I just got it, and I'm going to my first lesson and such. He was being real encouraging, and went on his way.
No,
And I went.
wait, stop. Hold on, pause. Eddie Harris?
Eddie Harris, yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
so cool.
And
So
and I went to
cool.
that lesson, and I took a couple of lessons with her, and then I went back down to Florida A&M eventually, and I was there about another semester or so, but I wasn't. I went there another semester, but I wasn't enrolled in school, but I did go down there for another semester, and lived and worked, and just but I was spending most of my time trying to figure out the clarinet. And then I came back to Chicago and finished school at Northeastern. And while I was at Northeastern, well, before I went to Northeastern, I went to Harold Washington for a minute, then I went to Northeastern. And at Harold Washington, I took lessons with James Mack. Um, he was a flutist and a great musician, a great composer, and a conductor and arranger. Um, and then I left there and went to Northeastern, and there I took lessons on the clarinet with Aaron Horn, um, who I think is in New Orleans now. He left there, but I took lessons there with him a couple of years, Dr. Aaron Horn. Uh, and then after that, I I took lessons with, I had a couple lessons with Phil Coran, and I had a number of lessons with Jimmy Ellis. Uh, and and after that, pretty much, just kind of on my own, studying and figuring stuff out. But going to study with Jimmy Ellis, it was interesting, the story, because it was like I was listening to the radio late night, and I listened to a lot of talk radio. And for me, at the same time that I like came and discovered like music, I'm like, 2021. And it's like, as you just coming into manhood and coming into just like knowledge yourself in general, like who you are. And, um, college at that time period and stuff, I spent, a lot of time just finding out, just coming into Black consciousness, what it means to be Black, you know, in America and in the world. And just, so I spent a lot of time just reading a lot of history and culture and stuff. Um, and I was listening to this talk radio program, and on WVON, Black radio station. And I don't know if it was something that it seemed, this guy the guest on the show was Dr. Walter Williams. Walter Williams, he's a historian, and he studies ancient Egypt. And he had a museum, the Ancient Egyptian Museum, on 38th in Michigan. And he's on this radio program, and he makes this sensational statement that no man ever walked the face of the earth by the name of Jesus Christ. You know, people calling in, he talking, and but he's speaking from a historical perspective, not from a biblical historical perspective, but from a historical perspective, saying that there's no historical proof, evidence. But his whole thing is ancient Egypt and the greatness of that civilization, and that you know, and that he himself, as our, you know, most black people, he considers most black people in America to be actual, you know, descendants of these people that are ancient Egyptians. It was just really fascinating. And long story short, I went and visited the museum, and I met him. You know, I go to the museum, I visit the museum and stuff, and I meet him, and we talking. He's talking, and of course, he comes up, you know, that I'm playing a clarinet, and I want to learn how to play the saxophone, and he starts telling me how he used to play the saxophone, and that he played with Sun Ra, and he starts just telling me all these stories, and he's like scatting the music from, you know, all the tunes and stuff, and he tells me about Jimmy Ellis, his friend Jimmy Ellis, and who's a great musician, and that I should go, you know, take lessons with him, and that's how I ended up studying with Jimmy Ellis. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into, you know, music, playing music.
You just basically got tussled around by all these wonderful, amazing musicians. I feel like could you not love music when you're surrounded by good musicians and good teachers? I think that have I'm from my own perspective at least, but I think and also I guess from hearing what you're saying, it just seems like you had a lot of really amazing people just sweeping. I mean, it's the you talk about it. It's almost as if people kind of just swept into your life, you know, in a very synchronous way.
Yeah, it's very, very. A term I heard somebody use was what do you say? Oh, cosmic. You know, some people say cosmic. Some other people say kismet. But yeah, cosmic. Um, yeah, it's just cosmic. And people say that about Chicago. Just that's something special about Chicago and connections and stuff. Because from Sun Ra to Phil Coran to Walter Williams, uh, yeah, it's just such Chicago is just such a legacy, has such a legacy of musicians and the arts and Black culture.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
Yeah.
hotbed. It's always been a hotbed for culture. So I kind of want to. I want to. I mean, I think that you're again. I think that your journey, like I said, it's such a story. You know, such an epic. And I think that one of the things that I really appreciate, and I want to just touch on is sort of for you, because of course this series is all around people who are manifesting and manifesting magic. And I feel like what I see as magic for you is you're like one of those people that is like you're the perfect amount of like famous or like renowned where like you have done you've done so many awesome things. You've been here, done there. But you're like so humble, but at the same time, like you also have like you don't you're not somebody who's like sometimes you see people who have done all the things done, but like they're really like big about it, you know, and over the top, and they think of them a certain way, and they keep themselves a certain way, and it's not necessarily a bad thing depending on how you carry yourself, but I think you know what I mean. Like when people sometimes they get really famous or renowned, or they do a lot of really things, and then some people get in the way, but some people really humble. I feel like you are one of those people that not only stay humble, but my impressions of you in the conversations that we've had are that you are somebody who literally, I remember the day you said that to me, something like, I like to do, how did I probably, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something to the likes of you wanting to do things differently, almost on purpose, because that's, because because you want to be in control, you want to be able to do the things the way that you want to do them, and it's not, you don't want other people. It's not to say you don't want to work with other people. It's not like that at all. You're very. Seems like you're very, very. You have a lot of value in independence and being
Yeah.
freedom and being able to do your own thing, and not feel like have to be in a box kind.
Yeah,
I don't
definitely. I think,
know, something that.
yeah. Well, yeah, freedom, independence, sovereignty. Yeah, these are very important principles to me. And yeah, and as an artist, they come at a cost, you know, sometimes to do things the way you want to do them, how you want to do them, when you want to do them. Um, yeah, sometimes that costs in the sense that, um, what other people want you to do, it may not be what you want to do. And what people want to pay you to do may not necessarily be what you want to do. Uh,
Right. May
so,
not justify. The ends may not justify the means.
right, right. And so to do what you want to do, you got to make your own path. Sometimes, oftentimes, you got to make your own path and find your own way to do it. Because the funding and the support uh, of anything, of any like society structure or whatever, that structure is trying to just maintain itself. It's not trying to change. And and yeah, so I think I'd be trying to do something different and some change and something revolutionary or something. So yeah, I got to figure that out myself to do it my own way.
I really, really, really admire that though. I really do. I think that's something that, like, so many people these days are afraid to do. It seems like I've seen a lot, especially in the music industry. I was talking to somebody, and friend of mine actually, and we were talking about how the music now, there's a lot of clones. Like, there's a lot of people just doing the singing as other people, and I think that you have to be really brave to just do things differently, and do things the way you want to do it. But also, was there a moment for you where, was there a moment in your life where you realized that I'm different, and I want to do? Was there anything that made you decide that, or you just always been that way, and it's like,
uh,
it's just kind of like, yeah.
nah, yes and no. I mean, well, no, I just always felt different. I always felt different. I always felt,
Mhm.
uh, yeah, growing up in my own house, my own family, I
Yeah.
felt like I was different or something. Um, I was always been like, very quiet. And when I got sent to school, when I went to school, being quiet was I don't know, there was something wrong with that. I remember like just even being like in kindergarten, like, um, yeah, that was a problem. That was a problem for the teacher, and that was a problem, that I was quiet. Uh,
You're
in
supposed to
school,
be
they
a
want
big,
you to,
loud black person,
yeah,
right?
right, right, and and not just that, but just education and the education system and what they think education is and the way they do it. It's all about you putting on a show for them or something, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't want to participate a lot of times in the discussions or stuff like that. But that's how you demonstrate to them. That's how you demonstrate your knowledge
That
and your
you're
intelligence.
Obedient.
Well,
All right.
well, not just
Sorry.
to
Go
be there,
ahead.
but they want you to demonstrate your knowledge and your intelligence and that you learn it by by contributing to this conversation discussion. And a lot of times I felt it was just kind of mundane and not interested, and I just didn't. I just wasn't into it. Didn't want to talk about it. Um, I vaguely remember at one point being in like and I was like in second grade. I remember being in like having to go to a speech therapist, and I don't remember why I was at the speech therapist. I remember that Kiki Calvin was at the speech therapist because he stuttered. I remember these were other students that was in my class that I went to the therapist with. I remember that Selena was at the speech therapist because she had a lisp, but I don't remember why I was there. And maybe it was because I just didn't talk that much or something. But I don't
Right.
remember
They
why I
were
was there.
thinking, oh, why isn't he
All right,
talking?
all right.
Right,
And that,
right.
but and like and again, I'm gonna say it was never um it's weird though because there was always they whenever my parents would come to school and talk for the conference or something, they would say we know he's intelligent, he's smart, because they would give you those tests, and I'd always test like like really good and stuff. They were like, we know he knows everything, but he just don't talk. He don't answer the questions. He don't talk. And yeah, and that was just a problem for them. So I always felt different. I always felt, but I just didn't like, I just wasn't interested in engaging in most discussions that was going on most of my life. I just wasn't interested in engaging in them, right? Um, in life in general, I was very nonchalant and very not concerned. Like I was here, but I just wasn't really concerned that much with what was going on like around me. It wasn't until and everything was like I could just kind of take it or leave it. I had no. I mean, I had fun. I had a great childhood. I had fun. I was enjoyed myself and everything. But I was just really kind of nonchalant. And then, but when the music thing hit, when I discovered music, uh, it was uh, it was the first time that I really felt like super super passionate about pursuing something. And yeah, but prior to that, everything else was kind of like whatever, you know.
Whatever. Right.
So I did always feel like different. And then in music, um, like I said, so I'm like 21 when I first picked up an instrument and started playing, and I started going hanging out at the clubs, listening to stuff. And it's just about like 5 or 6 years, maybe about 5 years or something before before I started actually like playing in the clubs, jam sessions and stuff like that. It's about another 4 or 5 years I started doing that. And so when I started doing that, then I started meeting other musicians. Then I put together a band. I'm hired to play in somebody's band. And I got to put together my own band because it's like being a horn man, saxophone. It's like a million saxophone players. Ain't nobody trying to hire you. You know, um,
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know there was that many saxophone players. I'm
Well,
not
as
saying
opposed
really a
as opposed to
million,
bass
but
players, right? How many as opposed to bass players, or as opposed to
right. Because who
even
wants
piano
to play
players?
bass?
Hmm?
Yeah, I would love to play bass, but
Yeah.
that's another story.
No, you should play bass. You get a lot of gigs. That's what,
Right. Yeah, I
but
know.
you get a lot of gigs,
But
and you could be an asshole about it, and people will still give you gigs. You be an asshole playing bass and still get a lot of gigs.
I play Esperanza too. Esperanza Beta. I don't think I could ever be better than her. She's amazing.
Yeah,
Um.
but I was just saying that when I started out playing the music, just because of my non-traditional kind of path, yeah. So with the musicians that I was dealing with when I'm around, I felt different, in that sense too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. So speaking of different, one thing I love that I was so I kind of want to talk a little bit about I want you to kind of give people some info about Doctor. Okay. I was trying to say this before the show, and I messed it up. So I'll process it up again. But
It's phonetic,
Belcidus,
correct.
Belsis, Doctor Bels. Please tell us about Belcidus.
Dr. Belsidis
Yes.
is a performance persona of myself, um, that I created to deal with, my interest in relatively recent interest in, making electronic music, beat maker stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, electronic music production using like MPCs, SP, rolling SP, turntables, sampling, drum machine, keyboards, all that kind of stuff, producing music like that, um, through the lens of this character, Dr. Belsidus. Dr. Belsidus is a character from a 1930s novel by George Schuyler. George Schuyler was a writer for the Pittsburgh Courier at the time, and he produced uh, this serial kind of tongue in cheek, and because he he wasn't so much in agreement with a lot of the Pan Africanist thought of the day of people like Marcus Garvey, and so but at the same time he recognized that the great masses of the people, uh, black people in America at that time, were very much of that mindset, and wanted to hear that, and so he wrote this serial strip about a black Pan African militant nationalist doctor, mad scientist kind of character who's on a mission to to upend the system of white aggression, and to rise up, black man and black people, um, and he does this through any means necessary, through the most diabolical means. Um, he's out to take over the world, um, and and um, and that's what this novel is about. It's called Black Empire.
He like some, one thing that sounds okay. Number one, I've not read this book, but that sounds super awesome. Sounds dope. Number two, is this guy supposed to be like he and when I would say evil, it's like, is he bad? Is he good? Is he a protagonist, an antagonist? Is he what do they call
Well,
it? The
technically in the book,
antagonist.
technically in the book is the protagonist of the book is actually his secretary Slater. Um, his personal
Oh,
secretary is like that's who tells the story in the book. The book is being told through his personal secretary.
interesting.
Um, so he's not really protagonist or antagonist. And a lot of scholars looking at George Schuyler, like I said, um, some people say maybe some of these attributes of this character are attributable to him, to the author himself, and then some of
Mm-hmm.
them maybe not. Um, but yeah, because George Schuyler himself was uh, more conservative, and an integrationist, and he felt also that through I don't know what's the word you use, through intermarriage, through the races, like intermingling together, um, that was the way to solve the issue of racial discrimination against black people in America, and that was his perspective about things.
That
Um,
was George's
the
or
author, the author of the book, George Schuyler.
George side. Okay, let's
Yeah,
look
and
at this.
he was writing this serial, kind of like uh, tongue in cheek, and kind of like just trying to make a hyper, like over the top, extreme hyperbole, joke, mockery, but it was
Right.
embraced and received, as like, oh, this is great, you know what I mean? And he
Yeah.
didn't, yeah.
Oh, wow, but for him it's more like, so for him it was more like almost like satire.
Exactly. It
He
was
wasn't
satire.
serious. He
Yeah.
wasn't serious about it.
Exactly.
But but people took it serious. Did people
Yeah. Yeah.
feel like the reception of it? People were like,
Definitely.
"Oh yeah,
Definitely.
let's get million,
Yeah.
let's get our
Definitely.
guns." But I think that's so cool. It's so interesting. See, like, I think that is really unique too. Like, who was gonna do that? Like, I don't know. You're the only person I can think that would think of something specific and so like rare. It's kind of a rare thing too, Like I love it. It's like it's awesome. So cool. So I wanted to talk about too some of the because you've formed. I mean, it's just you're so low key. You're like laid back about it, but you've done all these performances in different places, and you've been a part of um, really interesting like ensembles and orchestras and events. And I kind of want to show some of that because you sent me some clips, some
Yeah.
footage stuff. So so let's get some of that stuff, or is there more? Actually, can we do that? I'm getting ahead of myself. Actually, before we go to that, I'm excited for that, but I actually really want to ask you a little more about your album because you talked about Dr. Belsis, but
Yeah.
then you have album that just came out, right?
Right.
So, what was like some of the things I really like about it. You have the Queen collabos volume 1, and let's see, Soul Singer. So can you tell us about the sort of you had written something about within the last five years of his constant evolution, rebirth, reincarnation as an artist, beat maker, Dr. Belsis, Astro Soul Singer, a an altered destiny rapper, Dark Mary, as well as 3D black women singers. I'm gonna try to pronounce that, because I'll probably say it wrong.
With the singers?
The singers' names, yes.
Ugochi.
Suelo.
Suelo.
Okay, I feel like I was gonna mess. Suelo and Liz
Maputo. Mm-hmm.
So, can you tell me a little about what gave you the idea to sort of have? Are these characters? Well, Beku, obviously, that's connected. You have a call the Beku. So, can you kind of give me like the dots a little bit here for me with like the different
About the recording?
Yeah, the recording and the rapper.
Yeah.
The rapper, the process of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. The recording, like I said, is collabos. So it's like quarantine collabos, doing this whole COVID stuff. I'm just getting more into being at home doing stuff, not out playing as much and stuff. So
Yeah.
with the electronic and stuff music that I was doing, yeah, I decided, I want to make a collaborative kind of project. And part of that too was just me being challenged, with like writing lyrics and completing songs and stuff like that. So I figured like, oh yeah, you collaborate with somebody and they help you out. So beats and stuff that I was working on, I'd contact different people, send them stuff, ask them about it. What do they like it? Could they do something with it? Such as, and some people responded, and this is what came about. I would send them the beats, and they would on their end, each one of them record. Came up with the vocal part, recorded it, and and sent it back to me. some of them, mix and mash it and everything, send it back to me. Others just send me back the vocal part, and I put it, chopped it up, put it together and stuff. It was with the three singers, Ugochi, Liz Maputo, and Suelo, and then a couple other tracks. Like I said, I've been, as an artist, over time, I just decided to develop like different personas to deal with different aspects of like my art and what I want to do. I started out in the very beginning, as I said, like, being a traditional jazz musician, playing saxophone, playing standards and stuff like that. And then immediately I was, more attracted to the more avant-garde kind of sound and stuff. Um, and so I was interested in like the ACM and Sun Ra and Ornette Coleman, and the idea, the concept of playing completely free, improvising completely free with no preconceived like notions, spontaneously group improvisation. That's like one aspect or side of myself. And then there was also, like I said, like I came up playing like traditional songs and standards. And in between all of that, it's like I've always, since the very beginning, since my very first time I had like, lessons and stuff, um, I've always been like, I guess I've always been a composer, I've always like heard, just heard melodies and heard, my own thing and stuff. Very first lessons, I'd be go home and I have my lessons and I have my book and I'm trying to, practice my lessons and stuff. But it's like the whole time, like in my head, I'm like hearing all this other stuff. And it's like, I'm trying to shut it down and shut it off. Um, but it sometimes it gets to the point where I have to just stop my lessons and stop my practice and figure out, the music that's going on this other track in my head. Uh, and that music is always like, it's composed, it's like, in traditional kind of jazz way, it's like a head and it's like a improvisational section. And then it's like you play the head out kind of. So I've always like made music like that and stuff. Um, and then and then over time, I started playing jazz as I was, like I said, like 2021. And when I had come up listening to R&B and like hip hop and all that stuff, teenager, in the hip hop and stuff like that. So eventually in playing jazz, I started rapping and stuff. Um, you know, and so I just created this persona, Dark Mary, to deal with, the rap thing. And uh and then the singing stuff, I had singers in my band, and at different periods in time, and sometimes it worked out well, sometimes it didn't. And at some point when it wasn't working so well, and I felt like, oh, I just had to sing it myself. and so I started doing that more and more and more and more. Hence, I started creating a group where I just did that all the time, you know.
Yeah, well, I know how you feel. Sometimes I feel maybe that's why I started playing. Well, no, I like a lot of the drummers I've worked with. It's not that I don't, but sometimes, right? I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm like that too. Sometimes it's like it's better if you it. What is it the saying? Better if you do it yourself. I think some things are better if you do it. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. So this
Can't remember
recording.
that saying goes. But, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but so the recording features those three singers, and then those two personas of myself, one rapping and one like singing on the recording.
Yeah, and so basically, Dr. Belson is the beat maker,
Is the producer. He's the Quincy Jones of the joint.
Right. And then Abeku is like the singer when you're singing, your songs like in Abeku, the songs you sing.
Yeah.
It's like that aspect of you. And then the alter destiny rapper, Dark Mary, that's you when you rap. That's your rapping persona.
Right.
And then you have your singers, which are actual people. So, but the other people, those like three different kind of venues. I think that's great though. You kind of have a way of like compartmentalizing these different aspects of yourself and finding, giving each of those aspects an outlet of expression. Because I know for me, I've been playing around too with like rapping and no, I'm not a rapper, but last song I released, I actually rapped. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I'm a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm a rapper now. I always see myself a poet. I do write poems. I always writing poems. I don't share them that much, but I do like to write them. So I'm a poet. So but yeah, I would love to I would love to so we'll before we go to this album was released 2 years
Couple weeks ago.
Why did I say 2 years ago?
I don't know.
2 weeks ago. Not 2 years. 2 weeks ago. So it's out. Where is it?
Yes, out. It's on Bandcamp.
Bandcamp, and I think I have a link
at Dr. Belson's.
Yes, Dr. Belson's link. Okay, so I'm gonna put that in a minute here, you guys. And then also, quick, can we talk about? I mentioned free jazz and fully improvised music. And I know that you started Sonic Ministries. I remember we did a conversation a little bit about. And can you just tell a little bit about that too, and what your mission is with Sonic Healing Ministries?
Yeah, Sonic Healing Ministries is an organization I started, idea, concept dedicated to the evolution of humanity through sound. At a point, it was a point in my life where I was kind of at a crossroad. Like I had kind of said, okay, I'm gonna only do music. I'm not gonna work a day job anymore. I'm just gonna do music. Studying with Phil Coran, studying with James Mack, and studying with Phil Coran, it was like I remember one time going to this lesson with James Mack, and maybe I hadn't practiced much or something. And he says, "Look, man," and he was, and he was kind of, teacher where it was like, if you wasn't prepared for the lesson, you sent home for that day. You paid or whatever, but you ain't prepared.
Talking about Quran?
I'm talking about James Mack.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I come to this lesson, and and he stopped me. He's just like, "Look, man, it's either gonna be this. It's either gonna be that horn, or it's gonna be that girl. I'll see you next week."
Oh.
And so. And Phil Coran would just talk about, I do remember him just talking about, sacrifice, just the idea, concept of sacrifice. And that's just what it is. It's like, in order to, if you want to be a musician, if you want to, do this at this high level, if you want to, be, as great as you say you want to be, you got to sacrifice it. There's only so many hours in the day. Yes, this is true. And if you need to practice this many hours of the day, you need to figure out what you're going to not do in order that you're going to have that much time to practice and do it.
Right.
Yeah, it was all about that. It was all about like the sacrifice and stuff, and the seriousness, dedication, like to the music. But I'm trying to figure out how I'm getting back to Sonic Healing Ministries. But anyway, I was saying that I was gonna not do anything but music, because I was working. I was teaching. I was teaching at the time. I was substitute teaching, and I get up in the morning. I go teach. To like 2:30, 3 o'clock. I come home. I practice. And go to bed. And sometimes, depending on the night of the week, I go out, when I got to that point, then I go out to the session and stuff afterwards, and then go to bed after that. Um, but and then at some point I was like, I'm I'm gonna stop, teaching and just do music. And and then did that for a while and like struggle financially, struggle. And till I got to a point where I said to myself that I didn't start playing music to make money, and I don't like playing music to make money. I don't like that idea. I don't like music being in that place like in my life. And I was like, I play music because the way it makes me feel, because of the joy it brings, and because of the evolution that it brought myself through the discipline and study of music. I saw myself, like evolve, and and I wanted to put music back in that place, in my life. I started playing music because of what happened, when I picked up the instrument, to me, like psychologically and like spiritually. Um, and so to put music back in that place in my life, that perspective, um, and to play music from that perspective, solely from that perspective, I created Sonic Killing Ministries, and it's all about, um, yeah, playing music from that perspective. That music is about the evolution of oneself, the creator of the music and the people receiving the music, and about being conscious of the music that we play and how it affects people psychologically, spiritually, mentally, how it affects the practitioner and the listener. I wanted to play music, in that kind of way. So we play all improvised music, but from that perspective, from that basis, from that foundation, and with the goal and with the intent, because I feel like intent is very important in art, and that I feel that the intent of the artist, is communicated through the art. Um, so we play intentional, uh, positive music for the evolution of ourselves and listeners. From that perspective, that's what Sonic Killing Ministries is.
Yeah, I think that that is so, oh, it's so beautiful. Again, I feel like everything that you say, Vid, you're just so like chill about it. So not like, yeah, I did all this stuff. Yeah, saw it, Harris. Yeah, da, da, da. Yeah, I'm just like, I have this whole thing that I'm doing completely improvised music with awesome musicians, and it's for the for the good of mankind and yeah, we're just all about like there's all this amazing right, and you're just like yeah, well this is what we're doing. But it's like over here it's like you make it sound so like you just make it sound so like yeah, whatever. It's so, but when I think about what you're actually saying, like we need more of that. You need so much
Yeah,
more intentional artistry, because that's what that is. Intentional, integral artistry and creativity. And that's what we need right now. We need people that want to create music that's going to not just thinking about your the healing. I mean, obviously playing music, as we know, and being a musician is a very healing journey, and music can heal you. It also can heal the people that you're playing it for, both playing it,
hmm
being the playing it, and being the person hearing it. And I loved how you're thinking about the sort of like a conversation. I've felt like performance is about the conversation and that connection with the audience, and have those connections with people in the audience, and then also them, they're they're performing you. The audience is also
exactly,
performing for you.
exactly, yeah.
And so yeah, no, I really think that that's really important. I'm gonna put a link here at the bottom for people, Sonic Healing Ministries, and I want to also show some footage, and I want to make sure we get to that too. So so yeah, so people can actually are hearing. It's great. Everyone's hearing sort of the stuff that they might not normally hear, because you are super. pretty, keep things on the down low, not out there putting out how feelings or your thoughts or your perspectives. But I think that's why it's important for people to hear that though at the same time, because it gives people listening to this and the people that will listen to it in the future, when they hear what you say, that's going to have an impact on them as well, just like your music does. So
Yeah, I hope so.
I of course, I know so. So it'll find just the right people. That's how it always works, at least in my experience. Right, always just up. The right people always find your music at the right time. It all works out. So that's the whole part. That's the whole thing with like manifesting, right? Is that it feels like magic because it just happens. Magic is it. The magic is a creator, right? Because the creator is kind of like the one that's making everything happen. But when you rest in that peace of, oh my gosh, I don't need. I mean, obviously, I have to do my part, right? As you know, everybody has their part of their journey and what they have to do to manifest and manifest. But at the end of the day, you're doing you, right? You're doing David, and that's all you have to do. It's not like you're strive to like, oh, I gotta be the next, Lizzie Gillespie or what, you know what I mean? Like you're not do that. At the same time, though, you totally are doing what they are doing in terms of being original and find your own path and finding your own way and doing things the way you need to do them, right? Which is important. It's important to do the things the way you need it, so that you can express yourself as a independent person, as a unique person. So I think that just lovely, just lovely. So let's get this up here. So this first one I'm going to show is, let's see, the 63rd Street Beach. Can you kind of give us a little bit of background on that one?
This is another new recording, but this is performance of my composition Solar Suite. It's a suite, that has it's about the sun. So there's sunrise, there's midnight, and then there's sunrise, and then there's midday, and then there's sunset, and then there's nocturnal sun, which an nocturnal sun is with a play on the word eternal, is a song that's dedicated to Sun Ra. And that's the suite. And it was I don't remember when I first wrote it, but over the years I've performed it on the solstice, on the summer solstice. And this particular recording was a performance. I think it may have been like 2012. Actually, may have been 2012. It may have been it may have been like from 2012. It was performed with my band Expanse, which at the time was like a quintet, saxophone, piano, bass, drums. But then I augmented it with guitar and trumpet and a trombone, and then we added Chicago Modern Orchestra project led by Renee Baker, which is a string ensemble. So we had like 30 strings,
Cool.
with the quintet. Well, not a quintet because we had the horn, so it was like five, like a septet. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Well,
It was performed at 63rd Street Beach, and people, you gotta look up 63rd Street Beach. You don't know the history of Chicago and 63rd Street Beach and the drummers and Phil Coran and all other stuff that done happened at the beach over the years. But yeah.
that's awesome. I am gonna have to. I definitely think that is something people should check out. 63rd Street Beach. There's a lot of history in Chicago. It's amazing how history there's that people just don't, because they're always tearing things down and building something new over it, and you forget what's going on, what happened. But there's so much history, for sure. So here it is. I'm gonna show this video, and yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. Wow.
Yeah.
That was intense. It reminds me of like some of the stuff that it reminds me of like some of the like modernist, like maybe like some of the like classical music, some of the like post neoclassical kind of stuff, like Stravinsky, or like, I don't know if you're familiar with like Stravinsky, or like Webern, or I don't know, some of like the weird like Schoenberg, like, you know, some of like the more like abstract classical composers. Like, it reminds me of that kind of thing, where it's like there, you know, because sometimes, you know, sometimes to me, what I hear jazz is I hear like the truth of the chaos of the world, right? Because it's sometimes it doesn't always free jazz doesn't sound chaotic, but the times that there's lots of times where it does, it's free because everything is free to be, right? And come and go and stop and start. There's no because that's life. And I think there's something about, you know, the thing about free jazz is that it's contained, it's constricted, it's literally free. So but that's life, right? Like, life is chaos. Like, that's the reality of life. Is that it's that's the reality. Like, we're trying to like every day of our lives, like living in the lives that we do. I feel like this is theory, but I feel like we're trying to strangle chaos every day by living our life, you know, living our lives in a routine way, and being like, oh, right, we're gonna do this and go to work, and we're gonna go, and having this level of discipline that we have, which is not bad. I'm just saying that it's, what are we doing at each day but trying to wrangle and do our sort of predictable things amidst the unpredictable aspect of this world, and the fact that you know.
Yeah, we say it's chaos, but I think that chaos is just a term that we, apply to that which we are unable to fully understand, right?
That's yeah. I'm not even negative
And
for positive.
no,
Because
I'm just
it's like, but there's everything. You know what I mean? There's so many things that we can't control. Like there's elements that come into play that just happen, and it's just
yeah.
part of the energies of what's out there, and you
Yeah, I think
can't
that was
do
the key
anything.
word, control. Right.
Right. So to me, chaos to me is whatever is out of our control. That's how
Yeah.
I kind of look at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, anyway, so that was really cool though. Okay, so I want to share the other one too. So tell us a little bit about Hands Up, Don't Shoot.
Uh, Hands Up, Don't Shoot is from the opera, The Lynching of, insert the name of any white killer of an unarmed black here. That was an opera that I wrote in like 2015, and it was performed at Links Hall through through a grant with Links Hall. I think it was Midwestern Artist Exchange program. You know, program where they pair you with an artist from another city, and uh, I'm blanking on the name of the artist, Davis, from St. Louis. There's an artist in St. Louis, Davis. Shit, I can't remember his first name. um, but I paired with him, um, and through the artist pairing, what happens is that you present a show in their city, and they come and present a show in your city as well. You know, you share a bill, like in their city and in your city. Um, but the opera is like, you know, it's the opera, so it's a love story of two young activists in the movement for Black liberation and self-determination, and they have differing points of views about the concept of militancy and the concept of peaceful protest. You know, one feels, you know, that the group organization they involved with uh, needs to engage in militant activities in response to what's going on um, in terms of the many, you know, killings of unarmed Black people at the hands of white people who seem to go unpunished, and the other partner in this couple um, feels that they need to continue along the path of just having peaceful protests. And so the opera is just about that you know, that conflict is the center of it. Um, yeah, and Hands Up, Don't Shoot is one of the songs from the piece.
Wow. So what like to create an opera? Was it something that you thought of creating after you got the grant, or was it where it's like, oh, I want to do this grant,
Oh no,
and
I was already
I want to.
working on. I was work. It was something I was working on. You know.
Oh wow! And what made you and for you?
Well, at the time, you know, it was at the 2015 was when, you know, it premiered, but I don't remember when I started writing it. But yeah, but you know, it was a response to what I felt and what I thought that a lot of people felt, you know, in the community. Um, that yeah, it was in response, you know, to what was going on and what is still going on, you know, today, you know, with just the killings of unarmed Black people, you know, the lynching of Black people, um, and government sanctioned, you know, lynching of Black people in this country. It's just in response to that. Um,
What do you think of? What do you think the Because what I just thought of when you said lynching is, I feel like the most sinister lynching that's happening right now is almost like cultural lynching, or a psychological lynching, where
I
it's
don't know
like
what do you mean? I don't know.
there's well I'm about to explain it. Let me
Okay.
explain it. So when I cultural and psychological, I'm saying there is a psychological war with our people where it's, I know that there are institutions there that make media, there are people in media, there's people all over. They've been doing this same that they've been doing for a while, destroying black civilization, but through the culture, not just literally physically killing people.
Yeah.
Getting into heads and putting ideas and ideologies in people's heads that keep people separated from each other and keep people. So to me, that is like that's a different kind of death of not being aware. Because there's a lot of people that are not aware on a certain level. They are able to get out of the trap that has been set for them psychologically and through the education system and through the lack of resources and lack of knowledge that is shared about what we need to survive, what we need to thrive, what we need emotionally, physically, spiritually, all those things that you're talking about when you're talking about with like healing ministries, right? The things that you're doing in that we should have already had all that stuff to get, the fact you're an anomaly. There's people doing it. There's people that need that, but they're not seeing, you know what I mean, right now. And the reason why is not your fault. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm saying the part of that psychologically, certain people are not on that level. Do you see what I'm saying? Psychologically, certain people get brainwashed to be caught up in things that that have nothing to do with their own health or their own or connecting with other people, and that psychologically is a lynching in the form of you're stripping people from their culture and from roots and from what they know about themselves and saying, oh, well, the only thing remarkable happened to your people is you were slaves, and they forget about all of the Timbuktu. They don't spend a lot of time with that, which is and to me a form of cutting off who you really are. That to me, that's culture. So when I say cultural lynching, that's what it is, that they're stripping our children of who we are and to intermingle with white culture, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong. Again, people like intermingling, being friends with white people and all that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the strategic move on white people's part to come in and infiltrate our culture, strip our culture, assimilate us with their culture, or make us want their culture while they take our culture. That with jazz, you can see that with jazz. You can see that with you even see it. I saw this guy, right? You can see a lot of white guys now when they talk in the videos. They have this thing in their jazz. This is a little bit of a very short tangent, but there's a reason. So when they have their churches, right, they'll be like, yeah, and da 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 da, and doing this like hey, like that sort of like like it's a thing. Like they're doing like the way that they're like trying to look tough because they know that the black male is sort of has become this sort of symbol, right, of the ultimate masculine gear. So you see them acting like a black guy would be like, hey, and being like that, and I see a bunch of them doing it. It's like they're trying to be cool and hip and like that's what's in. And then like have like your Billie Eilish with like the and everyone wants to have the long fingernails and stuff because that's what Nicki Minaj so you see it it's being that's what I meant. I say they're hanging. They're basically when you hang somebody, you strangle, you cut them off from life, right? And so the life is our culture. Our culture has life. Our music is life. That's why everybody wants it. So so I didn't mean to get into a tangent there.
Oh no, there's definitely a psychological aspect to it too.
what you talk about, I feel like is, it's not just about the physical, it's also the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and I think the physical, like the end game. The physical's like, okay, yeah, sure, but everything else it's a culmination. That's what I wanted to say. It's a culmination of everything else that they're doing to the point where they actually physically do that. But even before they do that, they've already kind of gotten people into a mindset. They don't even have to lynch people anymore. They can get people to either kill themselves or put themselves in their own prison.
Yeah, you talking about the process of making a slave.
Right.
Right. The psychological dehumanization of a human being. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
So
then so there's this ongoing, and
yeah.
that's an ongoing thing that they keep on going to maintain, the slave in that state. Definitely. Through propaganda, media and everything, the psychological terror, of lynching in general, just lynching, that's what that is. It's a form of psychological terror. And so just seeing that, just seeing a lynching, and how that psychologically terrorizes you and immobilizes you. Yeah,
It's like a
definitely.
process, part of the process. It's like
Yeah,
part of their process of
yeah,
dehumanizing. That's why I keep showing you, all these. That's why I think sometimes they keep beating a dead horse with all the, people, people getting, I don't even know. I'm not saying that it's a true thing. I'm just saying that I feel like, I don't know. I just feel there's a triggering that's happening with some of this that they put on the news. And I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I'm just saying that it's being used and dramatized sometimes in a way where, and who knows, you never know who's paying who to these kinds of things just so that they can, I don't know, dude. I don't know about it. But I do know that this music that you create really says something. And I feel like all the music that I've listened to from you is always unique and always introspective. So I feel like this song that we're play right now, hands up to you. This whole song, right? The clip you gave me.
I think so. Yeah,
It's the whole thing. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Any last words before we play it?
No, I'll say
Like
the last words
like
after
the
you
end
play
of the interview, but last about this.
it. Before you play it. No, like I said, the music was in response to that because just as you said, like you went on a tangent talking about psychological terror, and yes, everything in terms of the media, the stuff that we see that we that's put out here for us to consume is a part of the maintaining of the status quo. Everything out here is psychological propaganda. Is well, I mean, not everything, but a lot of it, is psychological propaganda to maintain the status quo. A lot of what we see and what we consume. And so, yeah, as an artist, I do take responsibility to produce content that is revolutionary in the sense that it is to be psychological propaganda to disrupt, to upset, the status
Disrupt
quo,
the
to overturn.
propaganda.
Hmm?
To disrupt the other propaganda, right? To disrupt
Yeah, right. To
the
disrupt the status
deceptive.
quo.
Right.
Right.
That's that's
And
what we need,
so,
right?
so all the stuff that we watching and we consuming to terrorize us and to keep us, in the same state, yeah, this work is to yeah, it's to do just the opposite, it's to awaken, whatever it is in you that needs to be awakened. It's to inspire whatever it is in you that needs to be inspired to do whatever you need to do to lift us out of the situation that we in. Um, yeah, that's what it's designed, to do.
I love it. I love it. I'm sorry. Brain is not working today. Brain's ready to be done. It's waiting for that pizza. I have a pizza waiting for me. All right, so here we go. Without further ado, we have hands up. Don't shoot.
Fight the power to the prosecute the gotta do hands up, don't shoot, fight the power.
down Wilson City, prison in the ground. Turn up for every turn up for every rugged boy, till every gospel servant, great another boy. Turn up for every slave on march.
Straight Martin to that motherfucker.
Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that was great. That was just so, it just gave me, brought out my jazz bug. I felt like, whenever you do jazz is those things, whenever I love jazz. When I started studying, when I went to school, I just fell in love with it. And Chicago jazz, and just love going to Andy's and the Green Man, look, all these different jazz places. And listening to listen to people go. And there's certain people that just, you can tell they really studied. You are one of those people that I hear it and it's like you're taking me back. You're taking me back to the LPs. You're taking me back to the records. You're taking me like Coltrane. Like that kind of level. You know what I mean? I feel like you're on that level. You sound.
Thank you.
You comparable to that. I thought my phone on dismiss or whatever, but anyway, but you are on that level. You are on that level, my friend, and I just feel, like I said, I feel honored to know, not only know but be friends with somebody who is so musically, gifted, talented, and creative, and just all the things that you've come up with, and the rap. I got to see a little rap side too. Saw rapping, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really heard you rap. Like I've never listened to you as much, and then just hearing you play, I've heard you play soprano sax. Heard you play, but that was the first time I heard you play. Were you playing? I just looked real quick. Playing tenor.
Yeah, that's my main instrument.
Ooh, I love tenor. Yeah, I love the sound of tenor sax. It's just got that. It's good in between. It's got. I mean, I like soprano sax too. I like all of them, but I like the tenor because it really is kind of you sweet spot. It's not too. It's a little.
Yeah, somebody was quoting Ed Wilkerson. Ed Wilkerson, the Chicago saxophone. And somebody was quoting him, and they was talking to me, and they said that he said that that the alto saxophone, like as a saxophone, it's like you'll abuse it, like you'll just tear it up, you'll eat it up, you'll abuse it. And he said a baritone saxophone will abuse you. And then, but he said a tenor is just right.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's the Goldilocks effect. Just right. Yeah, definitely. So I think, and honestly, I think just so, what is it? Underrated, right? I mean, we'll have claimed, but several different, you've been, you played in festival, you've played all around, played out in Europe, right?
Yeah, I'm just
Stuff like
yeah,
you've done all kinds of stuff.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll take that. I mean, yeah, I feel that. And at the same time, I just yeah, yeah. I was just thinking that some other artist friend people I heard them recently talking about not being recognized and appreciated to the extent that they should. But yeah, I definitely feel that like all the time. And it's hard. It's just hard.
I feel like people
Being an artist and like
know.
doing what you're doing, pouring your
Right.
soul into it, all your time, your energy,
Yeah.
and the feel, and then the commercialization, the capital, the capitalization, of music, is to be bought and sold, and it's only so many spots for so many people, and so who gets those spots and who gets that, that's all becomes politicized politics, and uh, at the end of the day, it's not a meritocracy. It's not like who's the best player or who's the best composer or who's the best. And then on top of that, it's like subjective. Like if we was talking about, I don't know, playing chess or something, you just beat somebody and then they lose and you win and that's it. You know what I'm saying? but art is kind of like subjective, it's it's like judging a dance contest or something. Well, I think yeah, that was a little better than that. It's just based on what somebody think. It's not something quantitative that people can measure and say this is the best and that's the worst. So that even makes it even more difficult. But it's hard, because there's like very few opportunities for people to be the Wynn Marcelluses or the Esperanza Spaldings or
Right. There's
you know
like
there,
it's
there,
such a
there's just a
this
few.
big.
Yeah, there's just a few opportunities, a few slots for those people,
Hmm.
but there's like millions of musicians, um, and so who gets those slots, and then who doesn't, yeah. But at the same time, like I was saying, it's hard to dedicate your life to this, and and then at the same time to see, people that who do get those opportunities and you yourself aren't getting those opportunities. That's hard, you know.
It is hard. But I feel like spirit of what we're talking about in a situation like that, that's where you have to make your own opportunities.
Yeah, yeah,
In a
yeah.
sense, in the
I
way
mean,
that
yeah,
in the
that's.
sorry, I just want to say one thing and just kind
Mhm.
of be more specific about that. And when I say that, I guess what I'm saying is I think that we've had these conversations too before where it's like you kind of have to create you have to it's longer because a lot of the people that create these cultures, the whole like the way rap culture is today and the way rap culture started originally by the people that were the
Mhm.
pioneers of rap culture
Mhm.
that have nothing to do
Mhm.
with Young Money and BET and all these like big record labels that probably are owned now by white people
Not all these. I think it's like two. Isn't it like two or three record
even if
labels that
they're
own everything?
not, there's still black people who house N words, who are still gonna those even if they are even black do this to their own people where there's even Young Money for instance the money brand record label. I mean, all the stuff they do is terrible. They basically bastardize our app. Like all
Mhm.
this, like Little Wayne, Nicki Minaj, all them, and sure, as people, I'm sure they're very intelligent, whatever. But what they're doing is probably some kind of. This is something we'll have to talk about today. But basically, when have things like that, forces like that have a lot of money behind what they're doing, it's easy for them to just create these this sort of culture that appreciates music that is for instance I could say the same thing for singers, right? If you actually know how to sing in tune, doesn't matter anymore because they have now they'll
Yeah.
just put auto
Auto
tune on
tune.
everything and
Yeah.
everybody sounds the same and that's become the aesthetic and that's what everybody wants now. But I
Right.
don't really believe that's true. I believe that people still truly like unique sounds and that's old eventually.
Yeah.
So I think that even though you might see those experiences and go, this person's getting this, person's getting that. Well, who cares? Like we had a conversation, you and I, about why do we want to be a part of that? Why I don't want a Grammy. I don't want
Yeah.
anything to do with the Grammys. If I won the Grammys, that means I really am not going in the direction that I want to go in because that whole thing is corrupt. So why want to be a part of that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though it's else's measure of success, it's my measure of success. That all the people I know are not famous at all. Some of the greatest people I've met are incredibly talented, but they have nothing to do with fame. I've met several people like this. They even have, they might even be
Mhm.
doing fine, comfortable. So it's not like they're poor or anything, but they don't put themselves out because they know better. They know that's a trap. In other words, being part of that. So in a sense, I
I
can
mean, I
see
know
what
what
you're
you're saying.
saying. I
I
can
know
see
what you're
what you're saying
saying.
though, but you're very talented, and more people need to hear your music. So if you are watching this right now, I want you to be the change you see in the world. If you're watching, if you're here, if you've been here this long, you need to check out his music. Obviously, you're connected with what's being said right now. Hopefully, so take time right now and check him out. Go to David's site, davidboykin.com. Okay, check this guy out. Please listen to his music. We need to be the change we want to see. We want these people. There's so many people just like David, where it's like so many talented people that nobody knows about, and they just get rotten. And we just put so much trust and credibility in the radio stations, but really it's all a hoax. They just get
Exactly right, because what
it's
you
not
said,
the
yeah,
people
because
are in the radio. They're not. I want to say they're not talented, but
no,
they're
no, the
just
hoax,
talented enough
no,
to make
the
you think that they're
hoax,
talented.
right, the hoax is just is in. You said there's so many people that are just like David that you don't know about. The hoax is in what you know about. The hoax is in the media and the marketing machine that tells you you need to know this, and this is what I want you to know, and this is all that you're going to know. That is the hoax. That is that's the that's the hoax that's being propagated, and that everybody is subject to and don't even realize they subject to. You don't even realize that the taste that you have is cultivated, is created and cultivated for you. And that is why you like that. You like that because it's played on this radio 24 hours a day, 6 times a day on 6 different
Repetition,
stations.
in other words.
Right, right.
Repetition is what makes you
That's why you like
familiar.
that. That's why you hear
Mm-hmm.
that's why you like what you like. And you
It
don't
gets
even
stuck in
know
your
that that's
head.
why you like what you like. Um
Right.
and you haven't even heard, other music and other things like that. Because economics, and the control of all of that. So yeah, the hoax is that people don't even know that they being, controlled and manipulated and socially engineered. um, and that's what I'm saying. Like when I say it's hard, and you pushing back and you saying, well, you gotta be the change, and it's like you gotta stay focused, and you gotta
But it
stay,
is hard. I'm
and
not
you gotta
taking
stay
away from
true.
that.
Right, you gotta stay
You're
true to
right.
your integrity. That what you're doing, is for this higher purpose other than this thing. Um, but I'm saying it's hard to be disciplined, to not be. Uh, we just talked about a hoax that's going on, and so I'm saying it's hard to be disciplined to not not respond to somebody perpetrating a hoax, to somebody telling a lie, to somebody like scamming. We supposed to just be calm about that and not be.
No,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
you have a right to feel. You know what I mean? It's fucked up. There's been so many times where people have, excuse my language, but they have me, they've messed with me or done something, and I'm thinking I'm part of their, or I'm part of somebody taking advantage of me. Because when you're talented and you're gifted, people take advantage of you. And I
Yeah.
think that one of the things I recognize in you is that you're not willing. If you notice that somebody's taking advantage of you, you're the kind of person I feel who would up on that and would go and would rather say, you would know, you know what I mean, in a situation. Some people don't say, they just go, I want to be part of this group, or I want to be famous, or I want to be this, or I want to be that or that, whatever. So they just accept it and do it, and feel like, but do think what you're feeling and what you're experiencing, you know, but that's part of the trick. So it's like, if you let that all I was trying to say is that yes, it is hard. but that's part of the psychology that's supposed to get to you. It's like with the reality TV shows and the fame and the competition and things like American Idol and all of that. They have the people go through the competition. It's supposed to make you feel like, oh, well, I gotta try next year. Get it? You gotta, oh, I gotta try again. Keep, and obsess over whatever they want you to do, and do it the way they do it. And that's part of them. You wrapped up as stuff. When if you just, you know what, I really don't care about the show at all. And I just, what I really want, here's what I really want to do. Here's my end product. How else could I get there besides, going on this show, doing this or doing that, So I guess all I'm saying is I am not getting away from the fact that it's, I've gone through that myself. It's like sometimes like, my likes on Facebook or how many people watch this show or whatever is, I feel like more people should probably see it, or, maybe I should really put it out there so more people will see. But it doesn't feel like me, so I don't do that. Or I don't push it out there and put it all the way out there, because it's just not really my personality to constantly be bugging people and to watch the show. I just hope that they naturally, the right people that want to find it will find it at the right time. And, so I think that that's the thing is there's some people that it's more important for them to be a part of those kinds of things, to get those opportunities, or they know the right people at the right time and they build those relationships with people. And times there's just ways that things are designed in a way where there's no way you would meet the people that you would meet in order to do, you know what I mean? And sometimes that's the other aspect of it that I feel like I feel like I can't control. Like if other people are constantly, have these relationships and these cliques with groups of people that control, own certain kinds of things, that can, they call it a barrier to entry, right? In business, right? So it's like a barrier to entry for artists, where if you want to be in the music industry, or if you want to be something big in the music industry, you have to go through the gatekeepers. And so I guess that's why I said, hey, I don't want to be a part of your city, your whatever society. I would rather just create my own. Find all the people who were rejected from the music industry. I mean, I'm not saying I was rejected from the music industry. I never tried to be a part of it. So I never got rejected, right? And I feel like you're probably the same way. You never really got it either. But you were like, you know what? I'm not going to, bound to the music industry gods. So yeah. So I honestly, like I said, I'm grateful to have you as a friend, a fellow musician. I have a tremendous amount of respect for you. And
same here.
Really, I really think that, more people can hear your music, and I'm sure you'll be one of those people where once you're gone, people will be talking about you. They'll be being like, back in the day. Oh, I always think it'll be probably very interesting to see what people say about you after you're dead, because that's how those things work. Especially people that are very, very, talented like yourself. So, so people who are still watching, please check out David's music. His release, I've in the chat. So if you haven't seen it already, in the comments, I'll post it one more time for you guys. But just actually no, here I'll show. So, Dr. elucidate.camp.com/releases. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to download his music. And David, any last words before we say goodbye?
I was going to say also davidboykin.bandcamp.com.
Oh, okay. David, hold on. So that'll be www.davidboykin.com.
davidboykin.bandcamp.com.
Oh, sorry.
Also music.
I'm sorry. Bandcamp. Man, it's time to eat. I must be getting angry. Okay.
I mean, they'll probably find it through davidboykin.com too. But you could go direct to davidboykin.bandcamp.com.
Yeah. All right. connect with him. And then do the you want Facebook, YouTube, any of that stuff?
Facebook.
You want to follow you? Instagram, the best way to follow you.
Facebook, best way.
Facebook, David Boykin on Facebook.
Yep.
Okay, so David Boykin on Facebook. Check him out. Check out his music. More music is gonna be coming, right?
All the time.
Pieces and stuff coming up. Yes. And then we'll probably I've been collaborate on some of yours. I think Gordon great on some stuff.
Yeah, we get definitely.
We are. I do too. So be in.
Yeah, the Dr. Belsa's record was a volume 1, so definitely look out, because there's going to be a volume 2, at least 2, maybe 3, 4.
Infinity, the volumes. All right. Well, thank you again so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Thank you for sticking around. Sorry if it was a 2-hour. I believe there's still people watching. It's been 2 hours.
Yeah.
Guys,
it's been great conversation.
Yes, and share this with friends, please. I'm trying to build up these channels. The Magifest Space channel. If you liked this and you like good conversation, deep conversation, please subscribe. I forget to ask people to do this because it's kind of, but I guess it's nice to do this stuff.
Subscribe and
please
share it.
Subscribe if you're not already. Like what we're doing. Subscribe. Give us a little love. We appreciate it. And Mira Raven on YouTube. Magifest Media on YouTube, Mira Raven on Facebook, or all the socials. And then you also have David Boykin Facebook, and you can go to David Boykin Bandcamp to listen to some of his music. Bay was also his other group that he's associated with, so you can check out some stuff from that. We stuff at Elastic recently, so you can get that. You guys, so I will be back here for another interview next month. It's always going to be the third Friday of each month. So if you were ever trying to figure out when's the next one going to be, it's the third Friday of each month at 8 a.m. So I have not announced yet who my next guest is going to be, but as you know, they're going to be awesome and they're going to be manifesting. So, thanks again, everybody. Thank you, David. I will see you guys next time, and I hope everyone has a wonderful good night.
Good night.